Black Clover 253. Where do I even begin with this? I've said this in my Hero Academia review. Every chapter of every manga I'm reviewing right now has been nothing short of pure greatness in their current arcs. I mean, Promise Neverland had like one chapter, but other than that, everything I've read so far has been nothing short of greatness, in my opinion. And Black Clover's no slouch in this department. The last chapter ended with Vanica going to 50%, going into her demon power, getting ready to use up her demon power. She was basically stabbed by Noelle in her new mermaid Valkyrie form. So, with all that said and done, let's get into this chapter. And this whole thing is a fight and a flashback. Again, standard 15 pages for this chapter. And I really do love how Tabata is putting so much into such few pages and making it flow so well. I have to say, congratulations, man. You are really good at this. I know you want to write more, but if you can keep this up and this helps you write more of your manga and tell more of your story, then go right for it. I doubt he will see a video of someone as small as me on YouTube, but I'm sure me and a lot of other fans of the series, including you watching right now, can appreciate what he's doing. The guy loves his work and he wants to make his chapters longer, but right now he can't. But even still, everything going on in this chapter and every other chapter since these arcs have been coming out, since this portion of the arc has been coming out, there's been nothing short of greatness. He never been put into these chapters story-wise and action-wise that makes you feel just pleased and accomplished. I have to say, great chapter. Enough of me gushing over how great Tabata has been putting so much into so little pages. Sorry, dry throat. Anyway, moving on. So the fight continues from last chapter. Noelle keeps trying to fight Vanica, and Vanica ends up using her demon power finally. 50%. You should go straight to 50%. Just like that. So they end up keep fighting. Noelle continues to circle around with everything. So one thing you need to note, when Vanica starts using the demon power, she combines it with her blood magic and creates this giant bloody demon arm, which is terrifying. Vanica has got to be one of the scariest members of the Dark Triad. She's just freaking scary. I mean, Dante and Zeno are intimidating, but Vanica is just freaking scary. She manages to get a good hit on Noelle, but she's still able to swim, thanks to Chica's magic monozone mana method spell powering up Noelle and giving her a chance to swim around and increasing her speed. So as she's fighting, Vanica is like, so there's someone that is able to get powered up by Chica and work together with him. Great. I'm really gonna enjoy this. So through this fight, as is all going on, we flash back again to Chica talking with Noelle and Mimosa about how she feels like how she's basically afraid. Like, she feels like a failure because when she fought Vanica and Megicula before, she couldn't beat them and they cursed her. So she feels like a failure. And she feels like how she feels right now, that she's just scared. She doesn't want to die. She doesn't want to cry right now either. She feels like it'll make her even more of a failure. And that her power is mainly from the past priestesses, the past rulers of the Heart Kingdom. And she feels unworthy of that. Undine keeps trying to say that Little Chica was strong before she inherited the powers of her predecessors. But she's still... I mean, this makes sense. She's a teenager. She's a teenager ruling the Heart Kingdom. She thinks of her kingdom first. But the thought of her... But the fact that she's crying over the thought that she's wants her own self-preservation as well, that's something an actual human being would feel. I mean, she has so much responsibility, but she's still a kid. She's still pretty much a kid, and she fears for her life. She wants to protect her citizens. That's her duty. That's something she really wants to do. But she's terrified of Vanica. She barely managed to survive just because they were like, okay, let's just curse her for now. For all we know, they probably would have killed her if they before. But Noelle and Mimosa end up comforting her and saying, "You can cry. It's okay to cry, especially when you're with friends." Then we cut back to the fight, and oh my god, Vanica is enjoying this way too much because the combination between Noelle and Lil Pachica's magic helps keep Noelle with hit and run tactics. But slowly, Vanica goes 1% higher, 51%. And they notice that just 1% of the demon's power gave her such a huge increase in power and speed. And as the fight continues, Vanica keeps going up. 52, 53, 54, 55. That was done. That was, oh my god, that was Dante. That was Dante level of craziness. And then, as the fight continues, and as Mimosa is fighting the tongue guy, keeping him in a stalemate, he's like, "We're not gonna die for our friend, for the world." Vanica then goes to the highest percentage we've seen out of the Torque Triad, 70%. She goes into 70% of her demon's power. Dante went to 60, and Zeno went to 50. Vanica went to 70. I'm seeing a pattern here. Start with Zeno, he goes with 50%. Dante he goes up to 50%, and then he goes to 60% in his fight with Yami. And Vanica goes to 70%. But what's noted in this fight is that Vanica says, "I'm going to use all the demon power that I can muster at this point for this fight." One thing I do love is how Noelle was questioning her about killing her mother, about how they killed her mother. And he's like, "Who? I don't care. If they're gone, they're gone. I don't care about who's ever been killed." Which really pisses off Noelle. It really does. But after revealing the 70% form, we do another flashback. Two flashback sequences in the same chapter. And this confirms my theory. This helps confirm my theory because this is right when the chapter is about to end. So they state that we revealed that their plan, despite them getting strong, they get stronger. But the fact that they acknowledge they won't be able to beat her in a straight up fight, they'll be able to hold their own for a long while with the strategy that they cooked up. But if Vanica uses up all of her power, she can't, in fact, defeat them. But Lil Pachico states the most important part of their plan. Once we can get Vanica to use up as much as her demon power as possible, we'll use her trump card, the Arcane Stage. We cut back to the fight. Noelle calls out for Nero, for Sacre. She jumps in, she goes straight in, appears, and uses her sealing magic, her Arcane Stage sealing magic. Mana Method, something, I forgot the name. You know what? I know I've been doing this way too often, but I really gotta say this. I really gotta show this. Mana Method, Magic Eternal Prison. And I have to say, this looks freaking cool. Oh, hold on, there's a glare. Sorry. This looks freaking amazing. I love how Nero came in. And I love that their plan was to wasn't in fact to beat Vanica at all. They knew they couldn't beat her in a straight up fight. Their plan was to get her to be overconfident, to go straight to full power. And then, once she's maxed out, and for all I know, when she maxes out, she'll start to lose more mana and demon power. Bring Nero in, and have her get sealed. I mean, look, she managed to seal up the Zagreb, the Word Soul Demon, and that guy was powerful enough without having multiple magic affinities, without possessing fighting as he's possessing a powerful mage. But the Dark Triad are a different story. They were strong to begin with, and we assume that these demons are a hell of a lot stronger than Zagreb. But the fact that Nero has been... I'm going to be switching between Nero and Sacre, but the fact that they've been training for 6 whole months, you can assume that Nero has managed that with the help of the Heart Kingdom magic and its runes, Sacre's sealing magic to be a lot stronger. So this could end in one of two ways. One, the seal works, and Vanica is sealed away for good, for all we know. Or she can get sealed up, but then she goes full throttle and decides to put all the cards on the table and go 100% of her demon's power. Just to jump to 100% so she can break the seal before she's completely sealed off, and then unleash her power to take down everyone, and the arc will end up ending with Little Pachica's death. I know that's a dark ending, but with how this is being, and how the three strongest members of the new generation of Magic Knights, how Asta and Yuno lost to two members of the Dark Triad, and Noelle is fighting, and she's not even fighting on her own. She's fighting with help against Vanica. I really want Noelle to end up winning. I really want this team to win. I mean, the combination of Noelle, Lola Pachica, and Sacre to seal off the enemy is the perfect plan. It's the perfect plan. And I called it. Everyone called it, because if you paid attention to the last chapter, Sacre was in the panel when they were talking about Vanica and her powers. So yeah, not to couple that with the fact that Sacre wasn't seen at all for the majority of this arc. There you go. But yeah, honestly, it could end one of two ways. Either the happy ending, where the sealing is a success, or the dark ending that ends with the heroes losing and Lola Pachica dying. Yeah. There is the possibility of... Actually, yeah, I don't see this arc ending in any other way than one of the two I just mentioned. I mean, it's possible that Vanica could, in fact, get away, but that doesn't fit her character. She'll just fight until they're all dead. I mean, her mission is to kill Lola Pachica. For all we know, she is bound to just leave with Lola Pachica. Maybe she cursed herself on Dante's orders to be like, look, I know how you act, but your mission is just to kill Lola Pachica. Once you kill her, come meet up with us. We will need your strength, or something like that. That could happen. That could happen. But yeah, either they win or they lose and Lola Pachica dies. Those are the only real ways. Those are the only realistic ways of me seeing this arc ending. And I feel like the darker ending is more likely, because how we've seen the other Dark Triad members, they defeated the two main characters. Everyone they fought, they beaten. Right now, Yami has his hands full taking on Dante, who was at 60%, and for all I know, could have just jumped to 70% if we jump back to them. But yeah, that's what I feel about this chapter. This was great. Another short chapter, but so much put into it that I can't see how much more we can add to a single chapter without making the next one feel a little lackluster, or lacking some material, or something like that. Anyway, what did you guys think of this chapter? What do you think will happen next? Do you think the sealing that Sacre used on Vanica and Megicula will stay, or do you think it'll shatter, causing Vanica to use even more of her demon's power, and then kill Lola Pachica and have the arc end like that? Let me know in the comments down below, and above all else, have an awesome day. Oh, one more thing. Black Clover's going to go on hiatus next week. It's going to go on break next week, so we're going to have to wait 2 more weeks for the next chapter of Black Clover. I mean, the creator of Black Clover, I think, had a loss in his family 2 weeks ago. So I think he's taking some much needed time off. Which, go for it, man. If it helps you, look, I honestly, I admire mangaka for all the time and effort they put into their series. So if they need time off, that's perfectly fine. I mean, when One Piece decided to go on a bi-weekly schedule for a while, as much as I didn't like it, I was like, I understood, and I'm like, okay, I could go an extra week without One Piece. It's perfectly fine as long as Oda and his team are okay. So, yeah, we'll have to wait 2 more weeks for the next chapter of Black Clover. But with all that said, I'm satisfied with how things left off. So, with all that said, we'll have an awesome day.